Hello everyone and welcome. Today I wanted to talk about how to complete these treasure map quests easily. So first of all, if you complete this, you'll get a legendary shard. So if you can do this on day 1 or early on, it will give you a huge power boost compared to a lot of the other things you could be doing early. And then in order to find this as soon as possible, you can go to the Kingdom tab. This works for any of your domains, by the way. These don't necessarily correlate to, like, just because this is on the bottom here, it doesn't mean it's on the bottom right of the map, but it does mean that it's on the right side. All three of these will be on the right side, and then all three of these will be on the left side. You know that your treasure map is at least on the right or the left to begin with. Okay, so a couple things as we go into this first example. Always pause the game when you're not moving around, otherwise you're going to waste a lot more time during the day than you would otherwise. And then if you forget what your map is, you can always click here to open it back up. Also, if your texture settings in your graphics are low, these are going to be pretty blurry, unfortunately, so you might have to temporarily turn that up if you're having a hard time seeing things. Okay, so one of the most important things about these maps is that every type of creature changes the map in a different type of way. So when we see this right here with all this real dull colored gray and everything, that means it's the side of the map that the spider camps are on. And then also, if you look real closely right here, I'll probably even have to zoom in on this in post, but if you look here, you can see that there's actually a crystal on the map, which is one of these crystals, so it means it's next to one of the creep camps. You can also just barely tell the size of the crystal on here as well. So I know that this is actually a blue camp. And then if we look right up here, you can also see that this building right here is the portal. So I know it's next to the portal, and I know it's next to a blue camp here. It's right here. So here we have an example of how the map looks if you have the plant enemies. They will turn the terrain into vines and a very pink colored. You can see that pink colored on the map right here. And then you can also see that there's a chest here. You can see the quest giver right here is a pretty easy one to look out for if your map has that. Something you have to be careful of is this texture right here. This can show up anywhere, so you can't really use that to determine a side like you can with the plants, or the jungle camps, rather. And then if you have a gold mine like this, it makes it real easy to determine. Because obviously there's only 3 gold mines on the map, and you can usually tell based on the road shape next to the gold mine. So that's this right here. And the treasure map is actually just right next to me. So for the Gluttor enemy types, these camps usually have a lot of kind of like a pinkish tan color to them, or just brown trees in general. And then you can also look for stuff like the pot of gold here will show up on the map. The extra gold patches that are laying around in certain places will show up. And then if you see like a big pile of gold like this up here, that will mean it's next to one of the higher rarities of camps, like the blue or green ones have these gold piles laying around. So if you see gold piles or a bunch of pinkish tan-colored or brown-colored trees, that's probably next to one of the Gluttor camps. So last up, we have the archer enemy type. They will have a lot of red in their area, and also bones. So you can see the bones next to this hut right here show on the map pretty clearly here. The bones here show up here. And then they'll also have a bunch of, like, you can either look for the red tents in some of their camps, or you can look for the cages right here. Other than that, another thing that we can see on this map is the beast lair. The beast lairs make things pretty easy to find too, since there's only 2 of them on the map. And again, you can look at the road location next to the beast flare to hopefully find out which one it is. So another thing you can look out for are these circular shapes here. This will mean it's something like a domain building, like the Night Order right here, a sacred shrine, or a power altar, like the one that is right here. If you look really closely and you memorize a lot of the buildings in the game, you can notice subtle differences between these to know exactly what they are, but I'm not going to go into depth about all those. For example, here, it's just enough to know that it's in the middle of 2 different kind of structures on the map. So we can look at the Night Order here and the Altar of Power here, and then also use our clues from earlier that it's on the jungle side where the spider minions are, and we can get a decent idea of where this is. Just right in the middle of these two buildings here. So we mentioned this another time, but to go into a little bit more detail about it too, another good clue for these things are roads. If you have the gray road, like right here, that means it's part of your main lane path. And then if you have the brown roads, that means it leads to gold mines or some of the other buildings, like the beast layers. We know that this one is probably on the curve here, just based on how big this curve is here. Also, if you look right down here, you can actually see the artifact chest that's in the starting area for me, so I know it's for sure around here somewhere. And then I'll show off just how powerful the legendary shard is. Energies, these are all really bad examples. You can get something like 100 cooldown reduction, 15 fate amps at day 1, or a bunch of auto attack speed. These are very, very powerful. If you maybe want to do it day 1, or uncover a lot of the map day 1, and then do this day 2, once you have the map actually uncovered to look around, either option is good in my opinion. So anyways, I hope that helps you guys find your hidden maps. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.